It's mud season here in Maine, and it's also been pretty windy. So when this very dead tree fell in our yard, I saw an opportunity. What could I make out of this tree for $0? Now, just to be clear, this is terrible wood. This tree has been dead forever, and it's full of holes and rot, so I don't expect anything I build to last long. But that's okay. For $0, it doesn't have to. So after a little bit of testing, I came up with a plan. My plan is to maybe use it as a bridge over there's some low-lying parts of our quarantine trail that are kind of out in the yard that are really get very wet if it's rained at all, or obviously with the snow melting and stuff right now, they're just like a swamp. So I'm wondering if I can use this as like a skinny bridge over the swamp. The first question is, can I actually move it there? I figured out pretty quickly that I'd need to cut it down some to be able to move it. And that's fine. I need an up and a down section for the bridge anyway. This is not a tutorial, by the way. It's just something that I did with some trash wood that fell in our yard because I couldn't ride this weekend. Eventually, I figured out how to move everything to the spot that I had in mind. A spot along the run-in to the drop that gets particularly wet. Now you can kind of see what I'm going for. I put in a few stakes to hopefully hold things in place, and then cut out inserts for each of the logs to sit in. I don't have any screws or rods long enough to hold anything in place, nor do I have a lot of hand tools for any kind of precision woodworking. So we're gonna do everything with basically just a chainsaw and a hammer and see how it turns out. With the ramps laid into their logs, all that was really left to do was cut little on and off ramps and then try to plane the tops of the logs for riding. With just an electric chainsaw and a hammer to work with, I ended up cutting a ton of shallow slits across the top of each log, creating weakened sections of the wood that I could then smash out with a hammer. The results of this technique are not pretty. But the important question is it rideable? And while I can't say that I got it on the first try, it actually works pretty well. It may look messy as hell, but that rough surface means there's a lot of traction, so basically all you have to do is point the bike straight. That's all the riding that I'm going to do for today. As you can probably tell, everything around here is still super muddy or still snowy and icy, so I don't really want to destroy our yard by spending a ton of time riding on it, but now we've got a super sketchy skinny out there that'll allow me to go over the wet part if I hit it right when the rest of the place dries out a little bit. If you made it this far, please like, subscribe. Probably don't do what I just did because that wood is definitely rotten. In a month or two, it's probably just gonna be trash and I'll have to go out there and just chop it up and throw it in the woods. But I figured we had the thing lying around in our yard anyway, so why not do something with it? Normally I do post a video every week. So subscribe, stay tuned for next week's video, although again, because of the conditions, it's possible I will take a week or two off here if I'm not able to do anything. Right now it's really too wet to ride the regular mountain bike without destroying the trails. It's not snowy enough to ride the fat bike, so we'll kind of see what happens with the weather. Hopefully I'll see you next week, but if not, as soon as I'm able to actually get out and start riding again, I will be back, and I hope until then you get a chance to get outside and ride, and I'll see you next week, probably. Fingers crossed.